Nosson's, you know Reb Nosson's niggun? Remember we sang it in Uman? Remember in Breslov? Yeah, today's Reb Nosson, Breslov is Yarzeit. Shneinu matayv chelkeinu umanoim goydalein. Shneinu matayv chelkeinu umanoim goydalein. Shneinu matayv chelkeinu umanoim goydaleinu. Shneinu matayv chelkeinu umanoim goydalein. 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 La 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 la. Ba ba dum bam 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 ba. Ba la 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 la. Ay ay la la la. Ay Shneinu matayv chelkeinu umanoim goydalein. 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 Ay la 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 la. Bam ba dum bam ba 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 dum ba ba dum ba dum bam ba 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 dum bam. Da 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 la 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 la. Ay la 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 la. All right. Good morning, everyone. Not your typical way of starting a fasting, but you get into Breslov, a lot of things aren't typical anymore. You know, things kind of change. Anyway, all right. Come, if everyone, I'm sorry about this thing in front of me, but come. I don't know who you are. You look like you're 18, but come a little bit closer. We let forever young. All right. We're gonna do something very short, but even though davening is very late today, because of Snichas and Kriyas Torah, did not want to miss out on the opportunity to learn something very short from someone who, for many of us in this room, not just me, I know many of us in this room have received so much incredible chizuk and inspiration. And we're talking about Reb Nosson Sternhartz, Reb Nosson Breslover, who, it's not what I'm saying, it's what the Rebbe said. Rebbe Nachman said that if it wasn't for Reb Nosson, none of us would have any idea who Rebbe Nachman is. None of us. In fact, on a personal level, this is still my personal, what I feel quite often, I think I've shared it with some of you over the years, is that if I had a choice to take a walk with Reb Nachman or Reb Nosson, I don't think I'd walk with Rebbe Nachman because I'd be freaked out of my mind. I'd have no idea how to even, to even walk and talk. And somehow it's Reb Nosson who is more like, he's the go-to guy in order to get to the reservoir of depth, but he's the dude that I personally would feel like a little bit more, not that I wouldn't be freaking out in trepidation standing before him, but because he took that world of Reb Nachman and brought it for us into some kind of world of kelim for us to relate to. I've thought about this so many times, what it would be like to take a walk down that river that we go to by the Bug River, just to take a walk with Reb Nosson down that path. And I think that all of us on a certain level have so much hakaras hatov. Hakaras hatov is not even the right word, gratitude to Reb Nosson, to his Mesiras Nefesh. And we get to see really who he is through that amazing, amazing book, Through Fire and Water, that many of us have read. And I encourage everyone to get it, and if you already have it, to read it again. It's one of the most important works I think that Reb Chaim ever put out. It's an incredible masterpiece, Through Fire and Water. And we have obviously the massive Likutei Halachos as well from Reb Nosson, and we have the most incredible sefer in the world, Likutei Tefillos. That's what I sent out last night, which is the whole book of prayers based on Likutei Moharan. But I wanted to do something, and I apologize. For some reason, my computer was not working this morning. I couldn't print out what I wanted to learn. So I'll just say it out loud. And this is from, in my opinion, just as much an important book, Alim Latshufa, Healing Leaves, and they put it out in English called Healing Leaves. And this whole book, this massive book, is a bunch of letters written by Reb Nosson, mainly to his son Reb Yitzchak. His son Reb Yitzchak is a Yid who eventually made Aliyah to Tzfat, and he's buried by pretty close to Reb Yosef Karo. And they found a huge, massive treasure of letters, that all the letters that his father had wrote to him over the years. They found him. I found in his stuff. I'm not sure if it was before he was Nifter, after he was Nifter. And tons of these letters from here are letters from his father to him. And we've learned a few of these letters over the years. And Bina and I had a minhag for many years. We're going to try to go back to it. It stopped a few years ago. I don't know why. But we used to read one letter every Shalosh Shudas. And it gave us such a sweet taste, such a great way, such a deep feeling. And you could learn so much from a letter. So this is a simple letter that Reb Nosson is writing to his son, Rabbi Yitzchak, Bamidbar Tav Kuf Tzadik Gimel. That would probably be May 1823. June 1823. So this is already, Reb Nachman passes away in 1810, right? So this is 13 years after Reb Nachman passes away. Remember, the whole thing is on Reb Nosson. The whole mantle of not leadership, but the keeping people together and spreading the teachings is on Reb Nosson. Reb Nosson spends time hunted down by not just Yidden, not just Misnagdim, but other types of Chassidim as well. He does not have an easy life at all whatsoever. And his son also doesn't have such an easy life. But we see by the way that he expresses his love for his son, seeing him as an Abba, for me personally, gives me tremendous chizuk. Seeing Reb Nosson as an Abba. That's the thing, is like about Reb Nachman mitzad and Abba, we don't, I'm not sure how much we think of him as a father. Maybe it's because he buried a bunch of his children while he was still alive, because many of them passed away from all sorts of illnesses. Reb Nachman Breslov, right? He buries a bunch of his children while they're still alive. But what's that?
He's still alive. He's still alive.
While Reb Nachman was still alive, yeah, crazy stuff. So anyway, Reb Nosson writing to his son Rabbi Yitzchak, he says like this: Ahuvi b'ni chavivi, my beloved son, michtavcha kibalti hayom, I received your letter today. V'haya li lenachat, it gave me so much nachas. Bifrat ma shekatavta, she'ata mitchazek b'me'at tov she'ata chotef b'chol yom. Specifically, when you wrote to me that when you have a minute to grab lachtof, when you have a minute to grab some kedusha, you do it. It gave me so much nachas to hear that when you have, he must have wrote him that, and we could see it in the letters that he wrote to his father too. He gave his father so much nachas that he was probably very busy with work or whatever it was, and like Reb Chaim Kramer says, whatnot, right? With work or whatnot. But he says, when you told me that you have a minute lachtof, you have a minute to grab some 5 minutes here, hearing one email about from Chabad.org, just to see you grabbed that with the 5 minutes you had, gave me so much nachas. Yehi Hashem imcha, Hashem should be with you. V'yichazek et levavcha, and He should strengthen your heart. Leosif bechol yom or kedusha v'das, that every single day you should have or kedusha v'das added to your life. That every single day you could never say about today that there was the same or less amount, let's even say this, you can't even say that there was the same amount of light that you had yesterday. That every single day, B'ezrat Hashem, should be a little bit more of or, of light, kedusha, holiness, and das. Ki chutz mizeh hakol hevel. Because other than this, it's all shtus. This is the father telling his son, it's all shtus. You want to know if your days were real? Do you have a little bit more of or, a little bit more of das, a little bit more of kedusha? If you do, you're plugged in. If not, just remember, whatever you want to say you accomplished, it's all shtus. It's all nothing. Hevel. It's empty air. ומה שאתה כותב בכל איגרת שנעשה עמך הרבה בכל יום, אף על פי שיש לי ייסורים מזה מצד אחד, אבל זאת נחמתי, כי ידעתי שעם כל אדם בהכרח שיעבור כל זה. ואני שמח בעצת לטובה מה שאני רואה מכתלי דבריך. You write me, my son, that you're going through so much tzarot. You're going through so much inner struggles inside. And on the one hand, it breaks me as a father seeing his son being tormented by going through so much confusion in this world. But on the other hand, it also gives me chizuk, because I see that you're also a yid that has to go through a lot of things in order to reach greatness. So mitzad echad, as an abba, it breaks my heart seeing my son being tormented with confusion. But on the other hand, part of Am Yisrael, it gives me so much chizuk to see that my son is destined for greatness because he's going through so much heaviness. ואני רואה שאתה מתחזק בדבריו ועצותיו הקדושות, and I see that you're taking a few minutes of Rebbe Nachman's עצas, and it's giving you so much chizuk. Chazak b'ni v'chazak, my son, be strong, strengthen yourself. V'hizaher lizkor b'chol et, and remember to, and please be careful, be careful to remember at any single time, sheha'ikar hu hasha azos, that the most important thing is what? Hasha azos. What does that mean?
Right now.
That right now, and when you're reading this, it means right now, and when we're learning this about 200 years later, it's the same thing. Ha'ikar huma hasha hazos. What we have right now, these minutes that we have right now, is ikar. There's nothing else that's ikar right now. Nothing. And he says, remember this, he says to him all the time. Ha'ikar hu hasha hazos. Whenever you read this letter again, at that moment that you're reading the letter, that's what's, at this moment, that's the most important thing in the world. Obviously, this is a cloud that runs through all of Rebbe Nachman's teaching, the Torah of Hayom, im b'kol tishmau, that if you only listen to Hashem, when? Hayom, right now. Yesterday doesn't exist. Hayom. V'sheyesh k'tefayim revchavim b'ezrat Hashem yitbarach lismoch aleim, and you have very wide shoulders to lean on. He's referring to the Rebbe, right? Whatever the Rebbe says, and you listen to, he said, those are wide shoulders that you could always lean on and trust on. Lismoch aleim. וממך תראה ותבין מה היית עושה אם לא היה לך כוח כזה ועצות כאלו. What would you do? How would you walk the streets of this world? How would you get with the confusions of this world if you didn't have the Rebbe's eitzas? Now that's something each of us could kind of address and answer on our own. What would we do if we didn't have a little bit of the Rebbe's eitzas? What would you do? Jerry, what would you do?
I would be here. I would be finished.
Done.
What is the name now?
What would we do? He says like this, and this is strong words. It'd be impossible to suffer the bitterness of this world without the Rebbe's eitzes. Remember very clearly, Halashon HaKadosh is the language that the Rebbe said, Shegilahu Zichron Livracha, that he revealed to us, Beleshono HaKadosh, this is the 23rd teaching in Likutei Maran, Shechemdas HaMamon Hu Merirusa de Alma Mar Mimaves. I'm going to say those words again. And this is what he's begging his son to remember. Chemdat HaMamon, what does that mean?
Love of money.
What?
Love of money.
Not love. What's the better word? Coveting. Lo tachmod. What do we usually refer that to? Lo tachmod. Lo tachmod beis re'ech, right? He's saying the coveting, chemdas hamamon, the coveting of mammon, of money, what it does to you in your mind. He says, hu meriruta de alma, that's the bitterness of this world. Mar mimaves, that's more bitter than death. You think death is bitter? Spending time in this world, coveting money, is much more bitter than that. Enough said, right? Mic drop. That's it. What else do you have to say? Chemdas hamaman umiriruta de alma. The bitterness of this world, that thing that tastes the yuckiest in this world, is the bitterness of coveting money. Mar mimaves. It's more bitter than death. Now, you thought that was heavy. Vehu nimshach mipgama bris. Why does a person have these inyanim where he covets money? It's because in the area of Shmiras Habris there's some inyanim, some issues going on. Now, we could go now and try to learn that teaching now, and then we'd want to fast for a whole week instead of just today. So we're not going to do that currently right now this second, but just remember this inyanim are all connected. If you're having issues with money, and not if you have or don't have, but if that's what you're thinking about all the time, if that's how you kind of judge your achievements or success in life, is whether where you are with money, and chemdas mamon, whether you have it or don't have it, it's irrelevant. But the coveting of it, we know that when your mind gets taken over by certain thoughts of niyuv, chas v'shalom, of God forbid coveting in other areas, it's the most bitter way, it's the most bitter life in the world, because you can't get out of it. And no matter how many good things you do, it finds itself in every area of your life. So we say about, if it's about like adulterous thoughts, oh, that's so marmim, that's horrible, such tumah. Do you know how much tumah there is in chemdas hamamon? You know how much tumah there is also when it comes to lusting money? When that's all you could think of? So he says over here, obviously, the ha beha talia, these things are dependent on each other, and it's connected in the same direction where there's a begam in shmiras habris, where there's some kind of blemish regarding guarding of your covenant. The only way to sweeten all these judgments is through bris melach olam, the covenant of salt of the world. What does that refer to? Does anyone know? Where we have in the Torah bris melach in the Quran. The Balkor is not. The Balkor knows. In Korbanos, what do you have to do? With the salt, melich. You have to have the sprinkling of salt, In Vayikra, yeah. Parshas Vayikra. You wouldn't put it past us. You're about Torah. He says over here, how do you do korbanos? What's the only way to sweeten these judgments of the bitterness that comes through a blemish of covenant? Is when you then take the privilege of having a covenant with Hashem, and you salt it, you sprinkle mamish fire on it, you put it on a mizbeach, which means what? Shehu atzadika emes. You go to the person, and you receive eitzos from the person who lights you up on fire that wants to make you feel that you want to bring korbanos all day long. That's how you sweeten this judgment of being lost in the world of chemdas hamamon. And he says over here, "V'ta'amin shekol ha'olam maleh merirut yoter masher over alecha man hashiv laHashem." Just know, he says, as much as you're suffering a little bit of bitterness in this world, the world is suffering from it much more. The whole world. Because why? Asher anu zochim le'da ma'atzadik emes yesod ha'olam. We know that Torah exists. We know Rabbeinu exists. We know that it exists. We know it's there in our lives. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't have this. What you're going through right now is harsh. But imagine how much more harsh it would be if you didn't have it. And that's true about all of us. Not specifically right now about Rebbe Nachman, but in general, we go through a lot of confusions and being overwhelmed in life. And it's real and they are legit. But imagine going through all of this stuff without Dibuk Chaverim, without Shabbos, without the essential things that are the basis of our lives. The Torahs of the Rebbe sweeten the bitterness of the whole world. And definitely, it also sweetens the lives of those who find shade beneath his shade. ומתקרבים אליו. ומכל שכן שזוכים בכל יום לחטוף טוב ועצות על פי דרכיו הקדושים. Especially those that say, I'm not going to try to fix everything right now. I'm not going to try to fix everything of yesterday. But every day, I'm going to lachtof od. Every day, I'm going to grab a few more minutes. Every day, no matter what, I'm going to do whatever I can so that there could be a few more doses of light, holiness, and da'at, like you began this letter saying. And he says, Ashreinu matov chelkeinu shezachinu lezeh. Ashreinu. What does that word mean? Ashreinu? Where does it come from? Osha. Happiness. Ashreinu. Praiseworthy. Matov chelkeinu. How great is our chelik. Did I ever tell you guys that that's how we started our chuppah? Bina and I, we had we had Ben Zion Solomon, and all his sons that were around then, all my good buddies. And before it even started, the chuppah even started, I was just in my mind as we got closer to home, like, wait, what am I acknowledging here right now? Ashreinu matov chelkeinu. What? How amazing is our lot? So before anything even started, they sang like a 16-piece harmony to these words. Ashreinu matov chelkeinu. If you know the songs, you know that's like nothing for them. You know, to do that, to do such a thing. But that's how we started. First we started like announcing, like, you know, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar. I was like proclaiming to the world, this is happening. We had them saying the words, Ashreinu matov chelkeinu ma'noim goraleinu. Uvazeh tagil v'tasis b'chol v'chol eit. And when you remember this, that you have a chance every single day to grab a few minutes and add a little bit more light every single day. V'tasis b'chol v'chol eit. This will add so much more simcha into your life. V'tivrach mikol ha'rayon v'timhon levav. Then you can find a way to run away from that which what? Which keeps you shackled, which is that chemdas hamamon, which is connected to begam and shmiras habris. You can find a way out of there, out of that circle of confusion that doesn't allow you to think that there's anything more, that there's a chance of getting out of this. Where could you run to? El machshavot Torah u'tfilah v'simcha u'bitachon v'hitchazkut b'chazdei Hashem u'b'chemlato ha'gdola ha'netzach. You can find a way to run to thinking about Torah. Like Reb Shlomo used to quote Reb Nosson, who always used to say that everyone's so into running. You have to always try to running away from things. And he's saying that's true, but you have to remember, Adam's sin was that he also started running away. But instead of running from, run to. Remember that Torah? Instead of running from, run to something. Reb Nosson says the nature of man is that when he gets mevohal, which means frightened, he's going to start running. So you can't really stop that natural inclination. The question is, where are you running to? Instead of running from God, run to Hashem. Adam and Eve, the first thing they did is they started running from, thinking that there's such a concept. And Hashem says, you know, that's what you did with eating the wrong apple, that's like not such a bad thing. But running away from me, that's where it's really bad. Like we do a lot of averas every day, but the question is, do you run to Hashem saying, look what I did, as opposed to saying, you know, Hashem, it was your fault or someone else's fault. So he's saying over here, run to. Find a way, find an escape, a route that will take you right directly back to Hashem. The guy that's waiting for me to finish writing these words is on shpilkas, basically. So I got to end right now. That's what he's saying, right? The guy that's giving over this letter, he's in shpilkas. I can't write any much more, as if we need to hear anything else, right? Every single second, I'm waiting and expecting to see Hashem's great salvation. This is May. He's saying, I'm really excited. It looks like the shul is going to be ready this year, the clothes. I can't wait to get together and daven together this Rosh Hashanah. Nagila v'nismecha b'shuato. Will rejoice and be happy with his Yeshua. And then he just says, and send regards to a friend of mine, the great-grandson of the Rebbe, and keep on talking to Hashem no matter what. Ubaruch Hashem שנמצא חן ושכל טוב בעיני אלוקים ואדם, השם יתברך יעזרנו ויגמור חסדו עמנו לטובה בכל העניינים. וכמה גדול כוח התפילה. How great it is, what an amazing thing is the power of tefillah. דברי אביך המצפה לישועתך בכל עת. The words of your father, who is expecting to see your salvation at any given moment. Nosson Breslov. When was the last time you wrote an email to your son? What would you do? You know what the exercise of today is? Yeah, you'll see your child later today, he'll come from school or whatever it is. Or even if you haven't seen a son or a daughter in a long time. Well, why wait when it'll be too late to tell them what you really want to tell them? So Reb Nosson never waited. He never waited till Chas Hashem was too late, where he wasn't able to share with them what he really wanted to share with them. It'd be an incredible thing. You don't have to share with anyone, and you don't have to tell anybody that you did this, but for yourselves, and then hopefully you'd have enough guts to then give it to your child. Record a voice note. Because Chalila, taking out a pen and paper, that's already, using muscles that we're not used to and stuff like that. But take out the phone and record a voice note of what you want to share, what you really want to tell your child from the bottom of your heart in the schus of Reb Nosson. And Be'ezer Hashem, each of us will get a lot of chizuk to find ways to get out of those very scary confusions that clog us up. We can't get out of them. And remember, chemdas hamamon mar mimavis. Coveting money, it's the most bitter thing in the world. It's a place you can't get out of. Whether you have it, whether you don't have it. It's usually when you have it, but even when you don't have it. Hashem should help us and give us a lot of koach d'shmaya to connect to the tzaddikim hamitim in every generation. Be'ezrat Hashem yitbarach. Shkoyach. Because Be'ezrat Hashem, the bris is Thursday. Yiddi's Michal's bris Thursday. And Tzvi's in America. We're going to do tomorrow morning Chassidus on the parsha. Because he's not here and I'm not going to be able to teach on Thursday. So we'll learn tomorrow morning also, okay? Shkoyach.
Where's the rest?